In my previous episode, I promised to show you something that finally gave me the closure I was desperately searching for after being ghosted. I'm not talking about the usual advice you've heard before. This is different. But before I reveal what saved me, you need to understand something crucial about closure that most people get it completely wrong. There are many ways to find closure, and I want to be absolutely clear. I strongly recommend therapy. Please seek professional help if you're struggling. I also recommend talking to friends and family who can offer support, neutral opinions, and sometimes give you clues about what happened. These are essential parts of your healing journey. But what I found in my experience is that I desperately needed was understanding of what actually happened. I wanted accountability from the other person. I wanted an explanation. I needed to know why. And because they chose to ghost me, after some time, I had to accept a devastating reality. I would never get it from them. When someone chooses to ghost, they're making a crystal clear statement. They don't want to give you an explanation. They're choosing to inflict maximum pain. They will never ever take accountability for what they did to you. Now, if you're like I was, you might be holding on to hope. Maybe they'll change their mind. Maybe they'll suddenly appear full of regret, ready to apologize and give you everything you're seeking. I need to tell you something that might hurt to hear, but it could save you months or years of suffering. Even if they do come back, even if they seem genuinely regretful, which some people are after gaining emotional distance from what they did, you must be extremely careful. Here is why. Regret does not equal transformation. Someone who ghosted you is following a pattern. They have done this before and they are very likely to do it again. It's like someone who does something wrong, then after some time, their moral compass makes them realize it was wrong. They come back, apologize, you take them back, but the next time they face stress or pressure that triggers the same pattern, they will ghost you again. From all my research, someone with a ghosting pattern can only heal and change through 3 specific things. First, a genuine willingness to change. Second, deep realization of their harmful behavior. Third, they must go to therapy. It's impossible for them to fix this pattern by themselves. Without all these 3, the only time they're likely to change is if they face terrible consequences from their ghosting patterns, but even then, it's rare. So if they come back without showing you proof they've been in therapy for the entire period since they ghosted you, actual proof, more likely they're just regretful. And regret, as I said, does not equal transformation. No matter how regretful they seem, you must let them go. They need to face the consequences of their actions. But what happens when they don't come back? You still need closure. You still don't have your explanation. What was most devastating for me was that I needed to understand why this happened. I don't know if this happens to everyone, but for me this was deeply tormenting because I've always needed to understand why people do what they do. I'm passionate about psychology, fascinated by human behavior. So when he did this to me, I became obsessed with understanding why. What would make someone take such a cruel decision? How could someone who portrayed themselves as wonderful and caring could change overnight and become the complete opposite? I spent more than a year trying to figure it out, months of sleepless nights, replaying every conversation, every moment, searching for clues. The not knowing was eating me alive. I believe people aren't ultimately evil. Whatever they do, good behavior or bad behavior, they do it on some deep level to protect themselves. But when it brings conscious pain to someone else, it doesn't matter how much they think they're protecting themselves. What they're doing is wrong and they need to fix it. But here's what I finally understood. It's not our job to help them fix it. This is where my story takes an unexpected turn. The solution came from the most unlikely place. But first I need to tell you about my time in India, because without this background you won't understand how I discovered what I'm about to share with you. I lived in India for several years, and there I witnessed something that completely changed my perspective on relationships. In Hindu culture, astrology isn't just a hobby or entertainment, it's deeply integrated into life's most important decisions. People from India who follow Hinduism generally don't get married unless their birth charts are matched. First, let me explain exactly how this works, because it's going to become crucial to your healing. When families are considering an arranged marriage, and remember the majority of marriages in India are still arranged, the first thing they do is take the girl's birth chart and the boy's birth chart to a panditji. There's a priest at a local temple. They ask the panditji to analyze whatever these two people should marry based on their astrological compatibility. The priest studies their birth chart to see how their planets interact together. He identifies what challenges they'll face, what strengths they'll have, and whatever their fundamental energies are compatible. They won't proceed with the marriage unless the charts shows at least an average compatibility. And even if the charts are compatible, they won't marry until they find a day when the planetary transits are auspicious for both people. Living in India for so long, witnessing this ancient system work for countless couples, I began to truly believe in astrology power to reveal relationship dynamics. But soon I learned that are two different systems. In India, they use Vedic astrology, which is based on the moon. In West, we use Western astrology, which is based on the sun. The planets and the transits are different, but both reveal similar personality traits and patterns. What astrology can do is give you deep insight into someone's personality and character. More importantly, it can show you how your planets interact with another person's planets, how that affects your relationship, what kind of dynamic you'll have, and how your story will likely unfold. Now, astrology can't predict everything with 100% accuracy because free will exists. And I must stress this enough, astrology is not destiny. But what will show you are consistent patterns of behavior, potential problems, and challenges that relationship will face. This knowledge was sitting in my mind, but I hadn't connected to my desperate need for closure, not yet. And then one random day I was playing around with AI, just exploring, not expecting anything significant. And suddenly I had a thought that seemed almost silly at the time. What if I put his birth chart and my birth chart into AI, along with the exact dates we first spoke, we first met and broke up, and simply asked, what went wrong? I want you to understand I didn't expect a good answer. I was just bored and desperate. After trying everything else to understand what had happened, I was willing to try anything. I entered the information and asked my question. What happened next changed everything. The AI's response was absolutely mind-blowing. Long story short, it told me something that made everything click into place. It explained that during our stressful times, I reacted emotionally while he reacted with withdrawal and detachment. There had been fundamental ways in which we deal with disagreements because we are completely different types of people. I took things one way, he took them another way, and small issues spiraled completely out of control. But this was just the beginning of what I discovered. I didn't stop with that first answer. I analyzed all our patterns, my patterns, his patterns, and I could suddenly see how everything had contributed to what happened. Now, let me be clear about something important. At this stage in my healing, I wasn't looking to blame myself. I had already come to understand that no one deserves to be ghosted. Everyone deserves an explanation. But what I desperately wanted was to understand him, because I still didn't have closure. Talking to AI about our astrological compatibility gave me a thorough understanding of what had been going on in his mind, what had been happening in my mind, and exactly what had occurred in our relationship dynamic. It highlighted all the patterns that were written in our charts and showed me how the planetary transits at that time had affected everything. For the first time since he disappeared, I finally understood why. But even if astrology or planetary influences played a role, that's not an excuse. Yes, your chart may show certain tendencies, but the real work in life is to rise above them. We are all contradictions. We can be loving yet detached, kind yet cruel, light and shadow at the same time. Astrology reveals these patterns and shows us both our gifts and our shadows, but it also challenges us to grow, to work on these weaknesses so we can reach our full potential. You can't truly live the highest potential of your birth chart unless you face and overcome its shadow side. In astrology, ghosting carries heavy karma. Choosing to ghost is stepping into your shadow, while choosing growth, speaking up, having the difficult conversation means moving towards the light and developing yourself fully. Once I understood what had happened between us, I realized I could use the same process to understand myself on a completely new level. I asked AI, give me the psychological profile of myself based on my birth chart. Tell me what I need to learn and what I need to develop in this life. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What kind of work suits me best? What kind of partner would be truly compatible with me? What characteristics should I look for? How can I make better relationship choices? What questions should I ask people to identify if they are right for me? The answers were revelatory. I began to understand my own patterns in relationship. These insights were life-changing. Now I'm going to teach you exactly how to replicate what I did. But first you need to understand what you need and how to approach this correctly. What you must have: you need both birth dates, yours and your partner's, exact birth times and birth cities. Without the exact time, the reading won't be that accurate. Step 1. Generate the birth chart. Go to Cafe Astrology. This is the site I use and trust, but there are many others. Choose whichever you prefer. Enter the birth date, exact times, and city for both people. For this example, I'll enter random details. And click Calculate. You'll get a chart and below it tables filled with numbers and symbols. They may look overwhelming, but don't worry about understanding them. Just copy-paste all the information. Do this for both yourself and for the other person. Step 2. Choose your AI platforms. This step is crucial because different AI platforms interpret charts differently. By using more than one, you can compare insights and see what stays consistent across platforms. For this video, let's start with DeepSeek. DeepSeek provides detailed and thorough interpretation, but it does make mistakes sometimes. You need to check carefully that its interpretation matches the data you enter. Example prompt: A and B met on 3rd December 2024 and broke up on 3rd July 2025. Here are their birth charts. Please analyze them and explain what happened. Then you can ask follow-up questions based on the analysis. Other platforms: ChatGPT, faster, less details, feels like a quick overview. Claude, very optimistic, uplifting interpretation. You'll feel great after reading that, but it's less critical. Grok, good overall, but watch carefully for errors. For example, if your chart shows Venus in the 5th house, but Grok interprets it as being in the 6th house, that's a mistake. Always verify that the AI is reading your chart correctly, and make sure to select extended think or deep think or extra think. Step 3. Present information neutrally. This is absolutely critical for accurate results. Always ask your questions in a neutral way. Do not tell AI which person you are. If it knows, it might give you a biased analysis in your favor. Keeping it neutral ensures you get the most objective and balanced interpretation possible. Step 4. Request comprehensive analysis. Ask for multiple types of reports. Synastry report. This shows how your planets interact with each other. Composite chart analysis. This creates a third chart that represents your relationship itself. Complete psychological profiles of both people. Red flags, green flags, strengths and weaknesses. Compatibility assessment with specific strengths and challenges. Transit analysis for the time period you are together. Make sure you tell AI that when analyzing transits to check for Western astrology, not Vedic, because many sites offer Vedic astrology transits and are different. You can ask AI to use the same website, Cafe Astrology, to get the transits. Be very thorough in your request. Tell AI you want detailed analysis with specifics. Step 5. Ask the deep questions once you have the initial analysis. This is where the real breakthrough happens. Why did this person behave this way? What are my unconscious patterns in relationships? What should I look for in a compatible partner? What specific questions should I ask to someone to identify real compatibility? How can I avoid repeating these painful patterns? What you must understand about astrology. Before you begin this process, you need to understand exactly what astrology is and what it isn't, so you can use it effectively as one tool in your healing journey. Astrology is not a replacement for therapy. Please continue or start professional therapy. It's essential for your healing process and mental health. Your destiny is not set in stone. Astrology shows patterns and tendencies, but you have free will and the power to make conscious choices. Astrology is not 100% predictive. Don't base major life decisions solely on astrological insights. Use them as one perspective alongside professional guidance and your own good judgment. Very important, these methods should be used as part of a broader healing approach that includes therapy, support from friends and family, and professional guidance when needed. Astrology provides insight and closure, but healing requires multiple approaches working together. Remember this, don't focus only on what the other person did wrong. Also examine yourself honestly. We all have strengths and weaknesses. You need to understand both, but understanding your part doesn't mean you deserve to be ghosted or that you caused their cruel behavior, because you didn't. Here's what I need you to understand with absolute clarity. If someone ghosted you, you don't need them. You should never need them. Very rarely does someone with ghosting patterns change unless they genuinely want to, and unless they get professional therapy and they can prove to you they've addressed these issues. It's better for you to walk away completely because you've already survived this nightmare once. You don't want to repeat it. It's their responsibility to fix themselves, not yours, unless they return with concrete proof that their transformation is real and permanent. Do not take them back. Move forward, find your closure, heal yourself. This astrology method gave me the closure I had been desperately seeking for a very long time. This approach doesn't replace professional help or the support of friends and family. It works best when combined with these essential resources. My belief is that everything happens for a reason and serves a purpose. Sometimes we learn certain lessons only when we're ready for them. I believe this astrological approach came to me precisely when I needed it for closure, and now I'm sharing it with you because maybe you need it too. This method will help you get closure without begging for an explanation. It will help you understand relationship patterns so you can choose more compatible partners. Most importantly, it will help you reclaim your power and stop waiting for someone else to give you what you need to heal. Use this process not to predict your future, but to understand your past and prepare yourself for a healthier relationship ahead. Try this approach and let me know how it works for you. I believe it will help you move forward, find genuine closure, and choose people who are truly compatible with who you are. You deserve answers, you deserve closure, you deserve peace, and you have the power to give this to yourself.